What's going on, conquistadors? It is Scotty, the Chunky Spaniard, and welcome back to Round Like Me, the channel where we talk about a lot of well-rounded things. And it is Tuesday, which means it's time for a Tunes on a Tuesday. That's right, it is the Year of the Dog, and we are finishing off the Year of the Dog this week. I know there's one more week left in January, but wanted to move into some other things. Plus, running out of material, if I'm being honest. So, before we get into that, though, I do need to give a little special recognition. If you watch the student junior high slang video, we talked about the kids mentioned the word roasted, and I like to substitute that with honey baked. And I guess I may have gotten honey baked because a couple of Tunes on a Tuesdays ago, I was talking about how we need to stop some of these remixes, like the Cardi B and Bruno Mars remix of Finesse. I just like the song Finesse on its own. Don't need Cardi B. And I mentioned another singer, a singer who shall not be named, because this specific commenter told me to keep this singer's name out of my mouth. Now, I'm going to do my best today to keep the name out of my mouth, but we shall see how that goes. It may get interesting. Who knows? But let's get into the Year of the Dog and our Tunes on a Tuesday. So, Year of the Dog. There are a lot of different bands you could think of with dog. We've mentioned a lot of dogs. One band that I'm not going to get into was Three Dog Night, classic rock band, great band. But today I thought I would go down a trail I have not traversed yet, which is the hip hop route. That's correct. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is the natural selection for this Year of the Dog. We're going to talk about a few different dogs, but Snoop is not going to be our focus. He'll be mentioned, but he's not going to be our focus. You may be thinking Lil Bow Wow. Lil Bow Wow, little known fact, not related to Snoop. Discovered by Snoop, called Lil Bow Wow, not related to Snoop. But we are going to talk about someone who was related to Snoop. Snoop's cousin, Nate Dogg. That's right, the OG Nate Dogg. Someone who is considered to be a pioneer of West Coast hip-hop, Nate Dogg, who tragically passed away in 2011 after multiple strokes. But Nate Dogg, this is a guy that had his own career, was originally in a little hip-hop group called 213 with Warren G and Snoop, but I wanted to, and then that morphed into being recognized by Dr. Dre and all these other people, which Warren G, stepbrother of Dr. Dre. So Nate Dogg had his own solo career, but he also was featured a lot, and I know this goes against me saying the singer who shall not be. Wait, oh, what? What is this? What is in my mouth? Oh my gosh! This was the name I was supposed to keep out of my mouth. Isn't that crazy? Honey roasted. There was something about 90s rappers and how smooth they were. I mean, even Snoop, for being on Death Row Records, there's this tone to his voice that was just like silky, like slick. Like you were like, oh man, this is like grooving. Oh. And Nate Dogg was featured a lot on Snoop stuff, but he also was featured in a lot of other artist stuff. And you can hear his influence. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Nate Dogg's influence on hip hop and what he brought to the table every time he was featured. So, Nate Dogg, featured a lot, always collaborated with a lot of other hip-hop artists, was just so instrumental in bringing this groove and this soul and this whatever it was, his essence into the tunes. He was on All About You by Tupac. This is Nate Dogg's influence. He even had Exhibit trying to sing on the song Multiply. Go check it out. Song by Exhibit called Multiply. The very beginning, Exhibit is singing. And you're like, okay, he's not going to do that if Nate Dogg wasn't around. Eminem had him on a couple tracks, Shake That Till I Collapse. Nate Dogg was this funk master. He was the soul master. You can even hear it on the song Area Codes by Ludacris. Area Codes was... Dude, I know. Content-wise, we can discuss content of hip-hop forever. But area codes. And you want to hear a rad cover of it? Go hear John Mayer. Go find John Mayer on YouTube covering area codes, giving a little nod to Ludacris and Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg was this instrumental guy who brought soul and funk to these gangster rappers, I guess you would call some of them, and just these hip hop artists. And probably the most notable tune by Nate Dogg that you can recognize, and you always know his voice when he comes in. I mean, you just do. But the one that's probably most recognized and still celebrated today was Regulate by Warren G featuring Nate Dogg. And oh my gosh, that's one song. Andrew and I, in our little group Balarios, we used to do No Diggity by Blackstreet, and we always wanted to do this song. We always wanted to do Regulate, because listen to the chords at the beginning of Regulate. It's just sick. And you can hear the jazzy grooviness of just this opening chord. Oh my gosh. Oh, and that bass line, and it's a little hammer on. Just, it's so smooth. Even on acoustic guitar, you listen to it and you're like, it's so smooth, and you're just like, oh man, you're like, oh. What is it this time? Seriously? Haha. It says, Beyonce's nombre. Can't keep that name out of my mouth. Dang it, man. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Seriously. I don't even know today. It's like weird. I'm supposed to keep this name out of my mouth and it keeps on appearing over and over again? What's going on? I don't know. But we all know Regulate. If you don't know Regulate, if you're a youngster and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, go listen to it right now. Right now. There's this smooth, again, Warren G, even with those smooth vocals, there's just something about the 90s hip hop. Tupac had this just super uber cool air about him. There was more of an intelligence in hip hop back then. I don't know, even though they were rapping about maybe similar stuff that's brought up today, there was just this flow and this intelligence to hip hop back then that I really do feel is missing in today's hip hop music. And it's so frustrating to hear hip hop and be presented with new music, and you're just like, man, where's some new ideas? Where's this going? Are you telling a story? Even Regulate tells a story. It's not just, yeah, ben, bo. It's just, you're telling this story and there's all these things and you're just like, Name of the Queen Bee. Can't keep that. Name of the Queen Bee. Keep that out your mouth, right? Whatever. That's gonna wrap up our Tunes on a Tuesday. Super fast. This is gonna wrap up our Year of the Dog, and wrapping it up with pioneer of West Coast hip hop, Nate Dogg. Go check out some of Nate Dogg's stuff. When he did pass, they released kind of like this playlist of all of these artists that he was on, and then you really realize the scope of how big of an influence he was in the hip hop community. I respected he was in the hip hop community. Did you know Nate Dogg was a Marine for 3 years? Yeah, I didn't know that. It was crazy. I was doing research on this episode and I'm like, he was a Marine? Nate Dogg was a Marine. Pretty crazy. But I hope you enjoyed this Year of the Dog this month, and I hope that you've watched this far. If you're new to the channel, thank you. We're gonna try and mix up what we do on the Tunes on a Tuesdays, because let's be honest, they don't get the most views. I do them because I love them, but it doesn't help the channel that much. The Cranberries one got a great response. It's amazing how many people really did love the Cranberries, and still love the Cranberries. I still do. But thank you for watching. thank you so much for subscribing and liking this. Share these videos with your friends. If you like the one where I was talking about the school dances, share that one. Share your favorites. It helps. Every little bit helps. Got to get that watch time up, man. I got to get to 4,000 hours. Dang it, 4,000 hours. Do you realize how much time that is? 4,000 hours of watch time? Man. I hope this is the last one. What is this one? Sasha Fierce. Sasha Fierce. Man, I'm so glad I was able to keep her name out of my mouth almost this entire episode. It's great, right? Remember, conquistadors, serious note, to be a better person tomorrow than you were today, because there's always room for improvement. Let's go out and make this world a better place. Go out, listen to some Nate Dogg. Make your heart and your soul a better place, because you get the funk and you just want to sing like Exhibit. Or you get reintroduced to Tupac and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot how amazing he was. And his music still is. Or you go back to Snoop and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about Gin and Juice. That was such a good song, because I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Doesn't everybody? I mean, some truths right there. Got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Sipping on gin and juice. Laid back. Oh my gosh. Come back Thursday for a new Dear Students. Gonna be one that I think a lot of people can relate to. I can relate to it. Not just because I'm a teacher, but because I was one of these students. So, I will see you Thursday. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Go out and make this world a better place. I'll see you later. Bye.